All right, we've made it to a Friday. We could celebrate that. We are almost to the weekend, and we've made it through yet another hurricane impacting the Gulf and, of course, making a Gulf Coast landfall. I'm FOX26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade. Happy Friday to you. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Of course, our friends across the Louisiana Gulf Coast have been dealing with a lot this week, to say the least. Of course, I am tracking the tropics. I'll give you the latest on what's left of Francine, and I'll let you know if we have anything else that we have to worry about out there across the Atlantic basin. First, let's start off with Francine. Of course, it did make landfall as a Category 2 100-mile-per-hour hurricane earlier this week, just to the southwest of Morgan City, Louisiana. But now it has lost tropical characteristics, so we're calling it post-tropical cyclone Francine. And it is basically situated near Memphis and Jonesboro, Arkansas. You can still kind of see that counterclockwise swirl, that center of what's left of Francine. The main threat with this system for the next day or two will be that threat for heavy rain. Notice the flood watch is still posted for a big portion of Alabama, western portions of Georgia, just west of Atlanta, and also the northeastern section of Mississippi and parts of Tennessee as well. So these are going to be the areas with the highest risk for these heavy bursts of tropical downpours that we've been experiencing, and that risk for maybe some flash flood warnings or some flood advisories. Otherwise, we are expecting Francine to kind of dissipate and fall apart completely over the next 24 hours. Here is the latest advisory, though. This is our 4 p.m. advisory for post-tropical cyclone Francine. Winds are now down to a measly 15 miles per hour, so it's on its way out. That's for sure. It is going to drift to the southeast around 6 miles per hour and head a little bit closer to the Memphis area before it likely is gone. It likely will dissipate before we get to Saturday evening. So it is certainly close to being gone, but still producing some heavy bursts of rain for parts of the Tennessee Valley and also other parts of the southeast. As far as that flash flood risk, notice the area in red. It's going to be basically from Huntsville to Birmingham, my hometown. I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, and my parents are still there, so they're going to be getting some heavy bursts of rain over the next day or two with the remnants of Francine. That flash flood risk extends up to Nashville, Tennessee, and over into the ATL as well. So if you do have a flight to Atlanta, there could be some delays due to these showers and storms that are expected from Francine. As we go into Saturday, there will still be the risk for some flash flooding, really in some of the same spots, stretching from Albany, Georgia, through Atlanta, through Birmingham, Huntsville, Alabama, and up into Nashville, Tennessee. But as I mentioned, as we get to Saturday evening, Saturday night, Francine should be completely dissipated, and we won't have to worry too much more about that system. However, we are still right around the peak of hurricane season, which was September 10th. So we've still got to be concerned about other potential systems popping up on us and causing some problems. So at this point, we've got 3 other areas that we are monitoring. We've got one area just offshore of the southeastern U.S., right off of the Carolina coast, and that area now has a higher medium 40% chance for development of a tropical system over the next 7 days. So we've got to watch that. A potential area of low pressure could develop right along a stalled front. Here's good news about Invest 94L, which is right around the Leeward Islands, those northeastern Caribbean islands. Chance for development here is down from 30% to 0%. So it's really run into some very dry air. Atmospheric conditions are not really ideal for this system to survive. So I don't think it's going to. That's why the National Hurricane Center has put that percentage for development down to 0%. So it looks like we'll be getting rid of that one. But we've got to worry about Gordon in the central Atlantic. You can see that blowing up there, all of that convection, those showers and storms. That is a tropical storm. Of course, we had Tropical Depression 7, but as of 10 a.m. today, Tropical Depression 7 turned into Tropical Storm Gordon. Winds are currently at 40 miles per hour. Pressure 1006 millibars and moving to the west-northwest around 10 miles per hour. So notice the track. Continuing west-northwest and then kind of moving due west for a few days and then back to the northwest. But notice it's not really gaining strength very much. In fact, as we go through the weekend into early next week, it's going to weaken back to a tropical depression, and then the forecast kind of has it re-strengthening to a tropical storm with winds around 40-45 miles per hour by Monday. So that means we're not really looking at a rapidly developing system. Why is that? Well, I think Gordon will run into some problems. We've got some drier air out there. We've still got some Saharan dust flying. That helps to bring in that drier air. And these systems don't really thrive and survive with drier air. So this one might survive, but it's not really going to strengthen very much. So we will continue to watch Tropical Storm Gordon closely, but it looks like it is a fish storm. It stays over that open water for the next several days. So it's not going to be an issue for us or anyone else for that matter anytime soon. This is the final area that we're monitoring. This is the area with the potential for tropical development just off of that southeastern U.S. coast. Yesterday, there was about a 30% chance for long-term development over the next week, maybe getting a tropical system going. But today, that chance has increased to 40%. So we are going to monitor this whole area shaded in orange for the possibility of maybe a tropical depression or a tropical storm developing over the next 7 days. The next name on the list would be Helene. So we'll have to wait and see if we get that developing. This area of low pressure is expected to potentially develop along a stall front and likely be non-tropical at first and then kind of switch over and maybe regain some of those tropical characteristics as we go through the next several days. So we'll have to watch things closely. Of course, we do now have Gordon, and like I said, by next week we could have Helene. That would be our next system. But so far we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now 7 named storms, with Gordon becoming a tropical storm this morning. We now have 7 named systems for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And by next week, we could have 8 named storms if we do get Helene. Next name on the list after Helene would be Isaac. So hopefully we won't have to use a lot of those names, but of course we are still in a very busy part of hurricane season. Just like I said, we are right around the peak. Peak was a few days ago on September 10th. We've still got to get through the next couple of weeks because that usually is a very active period. Even the first week or 2 of October, we tend to still get quite a few tropical storms and even hurricanes. As we get towards November and especially December, when hurricane season is over, things start to kind of wind down and quiet down on us, but we've got to get there. So remember, don't let your guard down. I don't think there's anything heading our way over the next few days for Houston, but of course we will keep a close eye on it.